Did you know there's a lake in Africa so deadly, so violently unnatural, that anything touching its waters can turn into stone? Birds, bats, even entire colonies of insects, frozen mid-motion, wings stiff, eyes glassy, as if someone pressed pause on their final moment. And the oldest ones? They look like they died yesterday, but they've been resting there for centuries. They call it Lake Natron, a blood-red wound carved into the desert of northern Tanzania, a place where even silence feels scorched and the horizon bends like heat trying to escape its own reflection. People think it's just a lake, but locals, they call it the boundary. Because natron doesn't behave like water, it behaves like a mirror with memory. The lake burns at 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Its pH is high enough to peel human skin like old paint, and beneath the waves runs a chemical brew, alkaline salts, volcanic ash, and ancient minerals, powerful enough to calcify anything in its grasp. This isn't natural preservation. This is entombment. Travelers describe the air around Natron as heavy, not hot, heavy. Like something unseen is pressing down on the world, even the wind avoids it, moving slowly, circling wide, as if remembering something older than fear. For centuries, the Maasai refused to go near the lake at dusk. They said shadows didn't match their owners. Some stretched twice as long. Some moved after the person had already stopped walking. Some didn't belong to anyone at all. To outsiders, these were stories. To locals, warnings carved into memory, because they believed the lake was a threshold, a doorway sealed by spirits that once guarded something buried beneath it. In 1930, British cartographers arrived, mapping the region. They wrote about finding stone animals along the shoreline. But one note stood out. The bodies appear arranged, not fallen, as if positioned for display. The report was filed. It was never mentioned again. Decades later, a photographer visited Natron. What he saw shook him birds, perfectly preserved, wings outstretched, feathers unbroken, eyes staring upward like they died witnessing something unimaginable. A bat frozen mid-flight, a fox curled in terror, a small gazelle stiffened with its neck twisted toward the mountains, as if tracking movement that wasn't there. The photographer said, "It didn't feel like I found them. It felt like they were waiting for me." He left the lake before nightfall. He never returned. But the strangest discoveries came years later. A team of biologists studying water chemistry noticed something disturbing. Some calcified animals weren't lying naturally. They were found in deliberate poses, heads tilted, bodies aligned, limbs turned in directions no struggle would produce, as if someone or something had touched them after death. One researcher whispered, "These aren't statues created by nature, these are messages." When the footage leaked, authorities dismissed it, but the team insisted the arrangement was intentional, and the deeper they studied the lake, the more the desert answered with fear. At night, they reported hearing distant murmuring, not wind, not water, but voices layered and hushed as if thousands were whispering just below the surface. One scientist woke to see faint footprints circling her tent. Long, thin, perfectly spaced, almost graceful. There were no entry prints, no exit prints, only a complete ring, as if something had walked in a perfect circle around her while she slept. The next morning, she packed her bags. She quit the project entirely. Her final journal entry read, "Whatever lives here does not fear us. It studies us. Night falls quickly over Natron. But darkness here isn't just the absence of light. It's a presence, a weight, a slow-moving shadow that crawls across the lake like it remembers where it left off the night before. The Maasai say the dead don't sleep here. They stand guard. And if you listen carefully, you can hear the sound of footsteps on stone. Not human footsteps, not animal footsteps. Something else, something older, measured, deliberate, unhurried, walking as if it has all the time in the world. In 2006, a research team camped a few hundred meters from the shoreline. They were collecting mineral samples, pH readings, thermal patterns, routine science. The first night was quiet. The second night, less so. By the third, things turned wrong. At 3:17 a.m., one of the interns woke up gasping. She said she felt someone standing outside her tent. When the team stepped out with flashlights, the desert was silent. But the sand told a different story. Encircling every tent was a perfect ring of footprints, thin impressions spaced exactly 15 inches apart, a precise circle. As if whatever walked there had walked for the sake of ritual or inspection. There were no drag marks, no overlapping prints, no approach, no departure, just the circle. The team left at sunrise. 2 members quit science entirely. One refused to sleep without lights for years. Weeks later, satellite imagery of the lake leaked online. A square section of the shoreline was pixelated, intentionally blurred out. Despite being in the middle of barren land, people asked why. No official answered. One journalist investigating the area disappeared. His equipment was found, his camera full of static-filled images of the lake. His last recorded note said, "Something moved under the water, longer than a boat, and shaped like a person lying on its side." The note ended there, but the strangest part? Long before any scientist arrived, the tribes had a legend. They believed Lake Natron was once a battlefield, a place where ancient warriors made a pact with a spirit that lived in the mountains, a pact sealed by blood, broken by betrayal, and punished by a curse. Those who fell in battle would rise again, not as ghosts, but as watchers, eyes open forever, trapped between realms. They said the lake didn't turn animals to stone. It revealed their true form, preserved their last emotion, fear, anger, surrender, as a warning to the living. Some warriors, they claimed, still walked the shores at night, not alive, not dead, but aware, moving through the desert with the slow patience of something that has been waiting thousands of years. In 2012, a ranger reported something similar. He saw figures standing near the water at sunset, tall, thin silhouettes, motionless facing the horizon. He blinked. They disappeared, leaving only stone birds, stone bats, stone memories scattered along the shore. He quit the next day. Scientists tried to explain everything: the chemistry, the calcification, the heat, the pH, and those explanations were real. But they couldn't explain the poses, the arrangement, the footprints, the disappearing figures, the pixelated satellite sections, the feeling of being watched, because the lake was more than hostile, more than deadly. It was aware. Today, Lake Natron remains one of Earth's strangest, most dangerous places. A red mirror that reflects life, then freezes it, then displays it. Visitors describe the same sensation: a prickle on the back of the neck, a heaviness in the air, the undeniable sense that someone is studying them from just beyond the shimmer of the heat. Some say it's superstition. Others say it's science. But those who've stood on the shore and looked into the red water agree on one thing. The lake doesn't forget, it remembers every creature it claims, every shadow that touches its surface, every scream swallowed by the wind. And if you stay long enough, you might feel it remembering you, because at Lake Natron, nothing truly dies. It simply waits. Silent, still, stone, watching.